All right, welcome back, everybody. It is officially January 2nd, 2025, and we are going to be doing our annual predictions video for the upcoming year. So, without further ado, we're just going to get right into it, and I will guide you through how we're going to go through this. So, let's go ahead and let me share my screen here. Hopefully, you guys can see this okay. If you can't, please just zoom in. But long and short, we're going to go over my 2025 predictions. But before we do that, we're going to go over my results from 2024. All right. The way I think about any kind of predictions, any kind of um, prognostication, uh, price targets, what's going to happen next, or just point of view of the world, is that you should listen to people who have a high signal to noise ratio. Um, I think it's something that we don't talk enough uh, about listening to people who are right a lot and to find those people and to kind of hone in on them. I think there's too much of this. We listen to people because they're experts, but um, we don't put them through a rigorous you know evaluation on, well, how right have you been? You may be an expert, but have you been accurate? Are you a good expert? Just because you're an expert really means nothing. And I think we need to be more selective with who we listen to. So I've been doing this for several years now, where I put out my predictions and we see what happens. And they've evolved over the year. I'm not perfect by any means, but it's all out there so you guys can see it. There's no bullshit here. It is what it is. By the way, before we get into it, if you guys can't tell, I have just moved back into our house after the hurricane damages. It's livable now, but we're still under construction, but we can live here now. So I don't know if there's echo or if the sound's weird. The room's pretty empty right now. But just be aware of that. So sorry if this is poor quality in any shape or form, but I'm doing what I can, and I want to get this out there because I care. I care about sharing with you guys what I'm thinking. And just for everybody's reference, my videos right now are not monetized or anything. So nothing I'm saying here is me trying to make money or say something for ads or anything like that. This is just all purely me. So just keep that in mind. Not that I can't be monetized, but they're not right now. All right. But that said, let's get into it. So before we dive into my 2025 predictions, let me walk you through how this is going to go. We're going to go over results first, and then we're going to go into my 2025 predictions on three different domains: macro, Tesla as a company, and then Tesla the stock. Okay, so those are the three domains. But first, why are you even listening to me? What have I done? How have I done? Well, in 2022, my predictions were 50% right. Okay. Um, in 2023, I decided to split it up into macro, Tesla, and TSLA. And as you can see here, and you can see through the review of last year's video when we reviewed 2023, and you can go watch my 2023 video to validate all these numbers are accurate. I was 80% right on my macro predictions for 2023. For my Tesla predictions, I was 62.5% correct. And my TSLA predictions, I was 100% correct. So what we're going to do over these next couple slides is we're going to see how did I fare with my 2024 macro predictions, my 2024 Tesla as a company predictions, and my 2024 TSLA predictions. So let's see if you should even be listening to me. And it's just fun at the end of the day. None of this is financial advice. None of this is guaranteed of anything, but it's fun to share your point of view. So that's why we do this. All right, let's get to the next slide. All right, so what were my 2024 macro predictions? So in 2024, or on actually technically December 2023, I said that we would have another Trump Biden rematch. Um, I gave myself the win on that one because Biden was there. They did debate. There was kind of a rematch. He just dropped out. So that's a little different. But I would say that's a pretty good call. Keep in mind, this was not a popular opinion whenever I made this. This was, people did not think Biden was going to run again. People thought that Trump would have all these different challengers and that he wouldn't, um, you know, rise back to the top. And sure enough, he did. I also predicted Trump would win the election again. Once again, that was not a very popular opinion at the time. So I think I did pretty good on those. I said that we will fall below 2% inflation. All right. I I may be skewing it a little bit in my favor here. In some respects, we have fallen below 2% inflation. It just kind of depends how you're looking at it. So you could count that one as right or wrong. I'll give you that. I wouldn't say that's 100% accurate. So maybe I shouldn't have said 100% at the top here. But yeah, I kind of feel like we're there. So, but that's up for debate. I'll let you guys have that one if you want. Go ahead and roast me in the comments below. I said that the Fed would cut rates by 25 basis point and then 50 basis point. I was, I think, pretty accurate on this one. My order was slightly inverted, which is comical because I spent all of this year saying that they would do a 50 basis point cut first. Sure enough, they did. My prediction, I thought, well, that's what I think they should do, but I don't know if they will. And I should have stuck with that. But nevertheless, I was right about this. In fact, they did a whole extra 25 basis point cut. Um, this was, again, I think, a very bold prediction to have these, and especially throwing out the 50 basis point one in this, because keep in mind, I think at the beginning of the year, people thought we were going to have like 7 rate cuts or 5 or something like that. So this again was not a very popular opinion. All right, next. I said housing will do well and the stock market will do well. This again was a very unpopular opinion. People thought that we're going to cut rates and that would lead to people were looking at housing in two different ways at the beginning of the year. People were thinking either we're going to have an oversupply and it's going to collapse the pricing of houses, or that we would cut rates and that would, lower rates and more people would jump in, more people would start selling their houses. And you know, both those were wrong. There's also this narrative that either the stock market's going to do well because we cut rates, but then everybody's going to flood into the housing. And it's going to be this kind of avalanche effect, and that was wrong too. So we actually had a pretty strong year for housing market. Rates did not come down when they cut rates, housing interest rates. In fact, I think I saw this morning we're at 7% for a 30-year fix, 7.25 for a jumbo. That's nowhere near where we were in 2023. 2023 was a lot less. So I bought this place at a 6% rate. So and the stock market clearly did really well, 23% on top of this year, and we had 24% last year. So that's pretty impressive. I said tech leads all sectors, despite what Wall Street says. Wall Street was saying that we're going to have a rotation out of tech, that tech would be the laggards, that they wouldn't be able to continue this. And I say here specifically, despite what Wall Street says. I say these things because we now look in hindsight, these look like pretty obvious predictions, but in the moment, they were not. In the moment, this was a contrarian opinion, right? Now looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, obviously, no shit. So, just trying to give myself a little kudos here. But so we saw, I think Palantir was the biggest growth. I think Nvidia was number 2. I forget what was, or number 3, I think. I forget what was number 2. Tesla had a monster year. So it was definitely a good year for tech. You see Amazon's at all-time highs, Apple's at all-time highs, just across the board. It's been a fantastic year. All right. So what else do I have here? This one was interesting. Another one that was not a popular opinion. I said that by the end of 2024, Elon would no longer move Tesla or the markets with his posts on X. So if you remember, when we were leaving 2023, going into 2024, any post that Elon put out there was swaying the stock price, or at least that was the perception, right? And we had this whole thing where Elon needs to stop posting, Elon needs to stop doing this, he needs to stop doing that. And I think by far now, after Elon came out in support for Trump's won the election, it no longer moves the market. It's no longer this this I don't know, this drag on the stock price or on the company or the perception of a drag. Whether it was or not, we'll never know. But I think that has left the discussion. Like that's no longer a thing. All right. So again, you rate me how you want. Maybe you think one or two of these I wasn't quite accurate on, but I think I got pretty much all of these. Um, even if you think I was wrong about the inflation, we're at what, like 2.4, 2.5, something like that. I mean, I don't know. I guess I did technically say under two, but I don't know. If you look at certain like PPI metrics or whatever, it just depends on what you look at. And also, if you normalize it, so this is the big thing. If you normalize a lot of these things, if you take out certain government spending, if you take out some of the adjustments that they made, it's like the jobs number. If you took out all of the government jobs, we would actually be negative jobs. So what's real? Is real what government has been doing to inflate the numbers, or is real what the free market's actually doing? I guess at that point, it's kind of like religion, or how you look at economics, how you look at macro. But that's a whole discussion for another day. Just my 2 cents. All right, let's get on to where I did kind of pretty bad, to be honest. Let's look at my Tesla 2024 predictions. Again, this domain is looking at the company specifically. So in 2024, I said that Cybertruck would ramp to 100,000. I think we got to like 60,000. So I failed on that one. I said we would hit 2.4 million deliveries. I failed on that one. Um, I said India Gigafactory would be announced. Failed on that one. I said Gigafactory Mexico would break ground. Failed on that one. But I did say that the 4680 would go exponential. This was not something people thought at the beginning of the year. I mean, obviously in the Tesla community, some people did, but in general, people thought that there were issues with 4680 batteries. This year has definitely proved that they are scaling this and it has gone exponential. I said that we'd have a huge AI day with major Optimus reveal that moves markets. I think the Robo Taxi day was that. Right, we literally had Optimus out there hanging out drinks, hanging out with the people. We saw Cybercab. I think I pretty much nailed that one. Next gen vehicle, we got the Cybercab, FSD. It's here generically, but when if you watch the video, what I was essentially saying is that they will have solved the FSD. I stand by that. I think they have solved FSD. I think it's over. I think this is solved. We're going to see robo taxis from Tesla in 2025 this year. 4680 Optimus. I mean, these are kind of just more catch-alls, but if you watch the video, you could see what I was saying. So I gave myself 42.85%. So I didn't even make 50% on that one. So clearly my what Tesla as a company is going to accomplish in the year uh, wasn't so great this year. All right. So last one to review. So what we've done macro, which I claim I was at 100%. And by the way, I think that's, yeah, 2023 was 80% macro, 2024 was 100% macro. We'll see what 2025 is. And then just to recap, 2023, my Tesla company predictions were 62.5%. And this year, I'd say it's 42.85%. So not trending the best way. But next, we're going to talk about the stock. So, what was my prediction for 2024 when it comes to Tesla stock? Well, I said it would be an all time high. So this one clearly I was 100% right on. So this makes it 2 years in a row where I was 100% accurate on what my prediction was for the stock price. Again, if you keep in mind, beginning of the year, I think we were at 100 something. So to go from that to 420, over 420, I mean, that's a hell of a call, right? You didn't see Wall Street making those calls. So again, I'm gonna give myself my own flowers. I think that's a pretty damn great call to be making there. You know, in the meantime, you had the Ross Gerbers who sold everything and got out. You had Gary Black who was talking about things. Tesla's just falling apart. You had Dan Ives saying that we need the grown-ups in the room. That Elon doesn't know what he's doing. All these experts, and then little old me is over here making this prediction, and here we hit 480 a couple days ago. And it's just, I don't know, it's a beautiful thing. But enough of that. Let's get into the 2025 prediction. And if you guys stick around after this, I'm going to make some personal, goals for 2025 that I want to put out there into the universe uh, to kind of demonstrate to all you guys the power of actually putting something down on paper. Ironically, I didn't actually type it up here, but putting something out there in the universe and watching it come to fruition. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. All right. So, what? Let's get a sip of water here. All right. 2025 macro. What do we got? Okay. Again, if you need to zoom in, I completely understand. Feel free to zoom in. So, for 2025 macro, the first thing I have here is I don't think that we will see a rift between Elon and Trump. This is literally the mainstream media right now are saying this nonstop. You have everybody talking about it's not going to last. Elon's going to get under Trump's skin. Trump's going to yell at Elon. It's going to be this whole thing where the bromance is going to die. I don't think that's the case. In fact, I think it's the exact opposite. So we'll see. We'll come back on that. We'll see what happens. Next, I think this is a pretty big call. Europe, the UK, Canada, and all of big tech are going to get red pilled. And it's funny, I wrote these up pretty much yesterday. And since then, now I'm seeing that Meta is hiring a former Republican to replace some Democrat within the company. I think Canada is about to transition to a new a PM. UK is just going through all kinds of shambles. Um, Europe in general. I mean, it's just yeah. I think Europe, UK, Canada, big tech, all of them are going to um, kind of pendulum swing back to normalcy. Is the best way I can say it. All right, next. Uh, Fed cuts rates more than twice. Trump has to pressure them, and Elon will too. So right now, the SEP, essentially the prediction that the Feds put out there, um, I forget what the S stands for, but economic predictions. It comes out every quarter. All the Fed members kind of put in their best guess what's going to happen. Right now, they all are predicting just two rate cuts for 2025. I call bullshit on that. I think what's going to happen is we're going to start to see some softness in the economy. They're going to try to hold back. Trump is going to start yelling at them. Elon's going to use his megaphone, his microphone to support Trump and to get the Fed to do more than two rate cuts. So I think there's going to be a little tension there. So I think that's a pretty specific and bold call. So you're not going to hear that one anywhere else. All right, let's see. I think housing is going to slow down, but I don't think it's going to crash. So, look, rates, like I was saying earlier, we're sitting at a 7% for a 30-year fix. We're sitting at a 7.3 for a jumbo, or 7.2 for a jumbo. We actually have a decent amount of supply out there, but the problem is prices aren't coming down. And the truth is, despite rates being cut, despite all these animal spirits in the market, people are still struggling out there. All right. People are still struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. We have credit card debts at all time high. Inflation has slowed down, but we by no means have had deflation, and people are struggling. So I think people forget, sometimes, especially a lot of us, especially when we're talking about investing, like most people don't invest. It's a sad truth, but most people don't invest. Most people don't have extra disposable income to be investing. Most people aren't educated in investing. Um, it's something that I wish would change. I wish people would be more active with their money, more active with their portfolio management. I'm not saying that you have to be a day trader or anything like that, but I think handing your money over to someone else is foolish. You work hard for your money. You should work just as hard to make that money grow for you, and if not harder, actually. And I don't know, it's a horrible place we're in. But the truth is, most people don't invest. Most people don't understand the markets. Uh, most people, people make excuses like they can't or they don't know how. Bullshit. There's YouTube. There's the internet. Like I'm self-taught. I'm sure most of you listening are self-taught. You just figure it out. Look, at the end of the day, you want to escape the rat race. You want to get out from underneath of the man, or the thumb and the pressure of having to work for someone else. I'm not saying you don't want to work. Like I mean, look at me. I'm working right now. Working is so much more pleasurable when you know that if you chose to stop, or God forbid something happened, you got rifted, you got laid off, you got fired, something happened, you need to step away, something happened to your significant other, you'll be fine. That's the biggest piece of freedom you could possibly give yourself. And I don't think people understand that enough or prioritize that. Instead, everybody thinks retirement is 65 or whatever, and it's not. Okay, freedom is having a certain net worth where you could live off of the income that pile of money could produce. And if more people thought that way, if more people understood that, they would do everything they can to grow that pile as fast as it can, as big as they could, as soon as they could. Um, anyways, so I think the market is still struggling, and I think housing is going to not do as well, but I don't think we're going to have a crash. Um, and I also said here, this will be the main source of slowing inflation. So I mentioned before that Trump and Elon will have to force the Fed to cut rates. Well, why? Well, because they'll see signs of the economy slowing. We'll see inflation coming down probably a little too aggressively, and the reason for that will be housing, because housing makes up the majority of the CPI, of the PCE. It's kind of where all inflation is still within the economy. All right, next bold one here. By the end of 2025, LLMs will be seen as yesterday's AI. You'll see everybody casting it out like, yeah, it's whatever, it's yesterday's news. And instead, it will be replaced by real world AI. And that will be the talk of all mainstream media. CNBC, Bloomberg, CNN, Fox, they'll all be talking about real world AI. And this will probably come in the form of Tesla's robo taxis. Watch, you'll see that. Um, the next one I have here is Ukraine, Russia, the Gaza Israel wars will come to an end by the end of 2025. I actually think it will happen sooner. I think it will probably happen in the first three quarters, but by the end, I think that'll happen. Next one, Doge will flex their muscles to clear a path for 2026. What I mean by that, I think there's going to come. I think we're going to get to a really, really big fight between Vivek, Elon, and some members of Congress. And I think this will be where someone's going to win. And I think it's going to be probably Elon, Vivek, and Trump. They are going to make their voices heard. They are going to get their way, and they are going to um, essentially essentially put Congress into a chokehold, so that Congress will have to do what they recommend. Um, I know the way I'm saying this makes it sound like everyone in the media is right when they say, "Oh, President Musk and all this," but that's not the point. The point is you have good and evil. That's the only way I can think about it. Is you have good and evil. We're gonna make it this simplistic. The good people are trying to say, "Hey, you've been spending too much. You can't continue like this. You're gonna default. If you default, that has bigger repercussions across the world." And they want to prevent that. Meanwhile, you have the bad people, the evil people. I'm not saying they're evil. That's a bad choice of words. Let's say the bad people. But you know what? It is evil. I'm sorry. The evil people who are self interested. All they care about is getting reelected. And they're not doing what they're there to do, which is to be there on behalf of their people. Now, that does not mean to go there and get the people everything they want. That means to help people even when they don't know what's going on, right? You're the representative. You know the situation. At the end of the day, you can't get them anything they want if we default. It's all over at that point. You can't get them what they want for your districts, for your state, if all our tax money is going to pay the interest. It can't work. So the best thing you have to do is you have to get your house in order before you can do all these extra things. We gotta get our house in order. And the good guys are just trying to get the house in order. That's how I see it. So I think Doge will flex their muscle. There'll be kind of a public debate fight, if you will, but this will clear past once we get in 2026. All that noise will have been front loaded, have been dealt with, and we will have people on the right page. Okay, last one here for my macro predictions 2025, and then we're going to get into my Tesla 2025 predictions. So last one here for the start, or for the 2025 macro, is I think 2025 is the beginning of the Roaring Twenties. I know that sounds a little cliche, but I think we are on the precipice of this golden age. Right, we've got the right people in office. We have a very unique place right now. We have Trump, which whether you like Trump or not is not the point. The point is you have someone who has done a good job when he was president, didn't start any new wars, had the economy buzzing, and that was great. So you got him again. But the beautiful thing is he will not make any decisions based on getting reelected because he won't care about that. He cares about his legacy. And the best thing he can do for his legacy would be to end the wars currently in existence, have another 4 years of no wars under his presidency, which has essentially never been done, not in any of our lifetimes. Um, Land the first people on Mars, have autonomous vehicles all over the United States, um, fix the deficit, cut $2 trillion, and have a flourishing economy, close up the borders. If he does those things, he will go down as one of the greatest presidents. He just will. Whether you love him or hate him, it's the reality of the matter. And again, whether you love him or hate him, is not what you want for the country. Like, don't we want the country to be the best it could possibly be? I do. So I think it will be the start of the Roaring Twenties. Okay, so that's the end of my 2025 macro. If you're still with us, here we go. Let's get into a little more Tesla specific. Okay, so Tesla 2025 predictions. Okay, we have 2.4 million deliveries. Okay, not much more to say about that one. Tesla Robotaxi network will launch in more than just Texas and California. All right. Have you heard anyone say that one? I think that we will see several states actually. So I think that's going to be exciting. I think the Cybercab will start production at the end of 2025. I think we'll see actually a good amount of Cybercabs at the end of 2025. Um, we will have our first licensing deal. Um, and so okay, so here's a interesting wrinkle. I think we'll have our first licensing deal in 2025, but it will not reflect what we saw with the supercharging network. Meaning, once Ford announced, or Tesla and Ford announced this deal, or Jim Farley hopped on with Elon on X Spaces, also we saw a domino effect of essentially every automaker within the next 6 months signed up, agreed to go onto the NACS and work with Tesla so that they could use Tesla's supercharging network. I don't think that will happen with the FSD. I think with the FSD, you'll have one, maybe two or three companies team up with Tesla, but I think that's it. And it's going to be interesting because once that happens, I think you're going to know who's going to survive and who's not going to survive moving forward. So I think it's going to be fascinating. All right, next up, lithium refined plant will prove Elon uh, will prove Elon has next level vision. So I think we're going to see there's going to be a lot of noise with Trump, tariffs, other countries, potentially with China. And I think having a lithium refining plant will insulate Tesla in many ways This is a weird prediction, but I just think there's gonna be a lot of noise. You could see the lithium prices soaring again, and then this would help Tesla that they have their own supply. So that's kind of a weird one to make, but I think there's something there. Let's go to the next one. We will see the final hardware version for Optimus that will. So we will see the final, the last, the completed hardware, the finalized hardware for Optimus that will be used for the first generation that goes into actual production. I hope that sounds right. Meaning, right now, what we have, these are all like test Optimuses, but we don't have a final design that we will go into, greater scale production. And I think we will see that this year. We'll see the completed version that they want to say, okay, now let's create let's start actually printing out these Optimuses. Obviously, they're probably going to iterate over the time, just like they do with the vehicles, and you'll have a Gen 2, a Gen 3. But I think this will be the first time we see the hardware go from a beta hardware to a client-facing first gen Optimus. So I think that's extremely exciting. Um, let's see. Okay. These next ones well, maybe not. Okay, next one. New non-cybercab vehicle unveiled, and it goes straight from order into production. So I think it's going to be a lot more like an Apple release, minus the Vision Pro, minus their AI stuff. But Apple and Tesla are flipping. Tesla is going to become the company that announces a product and then shortly later it gets delivered. Apple is becoming the opposite. They announce a product and it takes forever for you to get it. So I think that's going to happen. And then the last one, oh, and keep in mind, when I say non cyber cab, I mean, these are gonna be whole new vehicles we've never seen before. It's not a cyber cab with steering wheel and pedals. It's not a stripped down Model 3. New vehicle, new segment, new everything. All right, last one. I think Elon wins his Delaware appeal. Maybe this is me being optimistic, hopium. I don't know. I think he's gonna win it. I think there's too much there's too much there. We've approved it twice now with over 70%. It seems insane. Eh, it I don't know. We'll see. I maybe this is me just hoping more than anything. All right. Those are my Tesla 2025 predictions. To be clear, if we come back here to the macro, my macro predictions have been pretty I would say over the last 2 years, let's see, what was it? Over the last 2 years, I for the macro, I was at 80% and then 100%, so I'd say those are pretty good. My Tesla predictions, 62.5% 2023, and then 2024, we dropped down to 42. So, okay, my Tesla ones look, I get bullish, okay? I get excited, I maybe or I just you know what it is? I I take a stance. I'm willing to put my neck out there. I'm willing to say this is going to happen. And sometimes it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. And I think at least having an opinion and being in the arena and playing the game, there's something to be said for that. So again, my Tesla company predictions on what they will accomplish, I would not give myself an A for that, but I'd say C plus B minus. These are hard things to predict. Macro, I'd give myself a A minus, A plus for that. Um, but really, look, you guys are all probably here to talk about Tesla stock price. And, if we reflect back in my results here, with my results, Tesla stock price, TSLA, my prediction 2023, 100%. So that's an A plus. 2024, 100%. So that's an A plus. You know, past results is no guarantee uh, of future results. But let's see what I say for 2025 when it comes to the stock, because that's clearly where I do the best. Okay, let's take a look. Here we are. All right, so another all-time high I'm predicting. So for 2025, I predict that Tesla stock will reach between 600 and $700. Now, you may be happy about that. You may be disappointed about that. I don't really care. I'm just telling you what I think. Um, and I would say take this with a grain of salt, but I like I said, listen to people who've been right a lot. Um, you know, I I think I have a decent sense of what's going on with the company. I have a decent sense of the uh, pulse of how things are going from an investor's point of view, and I think this is going to become pretty accurate. Now, this is still a big move. Um, in some respects, this is almost 100% return on the levels we are now, a little under 100. Could be seen as 50%. So we're in that range. So this would be a big year for the stock, really big year. So it's nothing to, it's nothing to be disappointed about. It's also nothing to make any financial decisions based off of, because this is just some random guy on YouTube who is telling you that he was right in 23 and 24. And I bet you're not going to go back and watch those videos to see if I'm full of shit or if I really was right. So go do your own research. Not saying you have to watch my video, but just think for yourself. All right. Now, if you're still with us, I'm going to change this conversation a little bit. And I want to talk about how I have managed to be successful in many ways in life. We'll just say life in general. Obviously, investments are part of it. Career is part of it. Relationships, health, all that's part of it. But I am a very big believer in what you say up here over and over will become real out here in the universe. I know that sounds almost cheesy. I almost feel lame just even saying that out loud, but I truly believe it. Um, let me give you an example. If you're always in your head doubting yourself, talking negatively about yourself, criticizing yourself, like, oh, I don't look good, oh, I don't do this, or oh, I'm not good at this, or like that's going to become your reality. But if you're constantly in your mind talking about like, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. Okay, we're a step closer. Okay, we're gonna do that. Okay, we fail at that, but it's all right because here's a silver lining. And this is gonna help me in the future for the success. And I won't make that mistake again. All right, great. Let's keep going. Right? It's whatever you say to yourself in your head, that's your own programming. And so something that I believe in is I guess the cheesy way is manifestation is what people say, but I believe in saying something out there publicly and saying it over and over and over and over, and you keep saying it. You keep saying it. Anytime it comes up, you talk to someone about it because you're putting it out there, and the more you talk about it, the world is kind of like your goals are not going to just come to you by way of you just sitting on the couch doing nothing. But the best way to start doing something is to talk about something you want to do and tell someone about it because that kind of holds you accountable. Because there's gonna be a certain point where either that person be like, yeah, okay, right. And here can be like, hey, fuck you. What do you mean, all right? Or that same person be like, hey, how's it going with this? How's that coming? And it'll almost kind of make you feel embarrassed if you haven't made any progress. And it's something that keeps you accountable. So that's one thing. I believe in telling other people what your goals are. Now, I also think that you need to think about them every single day. Now, this might be where you think I'm a little psychopathic or just psychotic, but I think about my goals nonstop. The things I want to accomplish, it's like if you were to be able to like plug an HDMI cable into my head here and put it on TV and see what my thoughts are nonstop, you would just see the things I'm trying to accomplish. And they're not small things, they're really big things. right? So they're not easy, they're difficult. And some of these things are going to take 5, 10 years to achieve, but I will get there. And I know I will because I've done this so many times, and every time it happens. Your thoughts are your momentum. And it really does start there because when you encompass what's in your head with these thoughts, with these goals, you start scheming. Whether you're in the shower, you'll think about it. When you're sitting there at work dozing off, you're gonna think about it. When you're sitting there making a decision, do I want to go out with this person? Do I want to go spend money on that? You'll think back about your goals. It literally becomes the gravity for all your decision making moving forward. So I can't stress that enough. And so with that, I'm going to share a couple a couple goals that I have for this year. Now, keep in mind, this is pretty personal. Okay, so I imagine a lot of people aren't on here anymore, and so to be frank, this is more for me, and not just me, but you know, I have this dream that I made this whole channel for my future kids, and that should anything ever happen, sorry, just should anything ever happen um, to me, and they just want to know, like, oh, how did dad become successful? What did he do? They can at least look back on this, or just have something of me and how I thought. So this is partly selfishly for me, something as a just in case. I know that sounds morbid, but so it's out there in the universe for my kids. But with that said, let's talk about my first goal. All right, is to start a family this year. I will be a father this year. That's a goal. I think about it just about every day. So that's don't need to say much more on that one. Um, Pretty straightforward. That's a priority. And a lot of close friends and family know that we're working on that path. That's what we want to do. So we're ready, and so that's a big priority. Now, the second goal that I intend to accomplish this year um, is going to be a tough one and not as fun as the first one, to say the least. Um, I have a goal of making $1 million this year. I want to make $1 million this year. And when I say I want to make $1 million, this does not include Tesla stock appreciation. That does not count in this. So, what does count in this? The only thing that counts for this is my job, which I can assure you does not pay me $1 million a year. I wish it did to make this a lot easier. But my job, so got to do well there. Um, my my wife, she works. She's got to do well. That's that's not even gonna cut it. That's not gonna be anywhere near close enough. So there's something that I don't talk a lot about, and that's the fact that I do a lot of options trading. Like when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Like probably more than anyone you know. I do more than that. Um, there's a few of us in the Tesla community who do this. We all do it our own way, but it's something that I've been very successful on, and so that's going to be the primary source of gain to a million. Um, I think I can do it, um, but you don't start off with trying to get to a million. You start off with $1,000 here, another thousand there. I guess the 10,000. All right, that turns into 15, which eventually turns to 35, which eventually gets to 100, and then hey, you're just another 10x away from there, right? So you don't start off with the $1 million. You got to break it up into small steps. And so the way I look at it is you take it month by month. So each month you have to have a goal. You have to have milestones. You have to give yourself those dopamine hits, so that you stay motivated along the way. And every month you're not going to hit your goals, but at the end of the year, if you stay disciplined, if you set yourself appropriate, milestones throughout the year, you're going to be amazed at what you're able to accomplish. It's going to blow your mind. I'll give you an example of this, like a trick for me. I've always been a evening workout person. All right, always my entire life. And then I really wanted to start working out in the mornings. I wanted to start off doing something for me rather than something for work or for someone else. And I really want to start working out in the morning, but I just, it's the sleep is the hardest part. It's going to bed early and then waking up. The truth is, I'm not the best at going to bed early still. I probably range anywhere from like 9:30 to 11. But getting up was the hardest part because you're so tired. And the way I was able to accomplish that was by not trying to hit the actual goal of getting to the gym in the morning. Instead, I had a small milestone, something that made me really excited, a dopamine hit. And what what that was a cup of coffee. So every morning when my alarm clock goes off, the first thought in my head isn't, "Oh, I'm tired. Oh, turn that off." It's, "Ooh, I want a cup of coffee." And that's all I think about is a cup of coffee. I swear to you, this works. I didn't come up with this. I saw this on YouTube actually, where someone talked about this. And it's literally been so transformative for me. Like it's crazy what what you can do with your mind. But now sometimes I go to bed looking forward to the cup of coffee. I swear to God, not making this up. This isn't bullshit. This isn't some like YouTube voodoo garbage manifestation kind of crap. This is legit. I literally have gotten to a point where I will go to bed craving that morning coffee. And when the alarm goes off, all that goes in my mind is like, "Oh, I need to get up. I want my coffee." It's like you are in control of your own programming. And so what happens is I get up, I make that cup of coffee, I make one for my wife, I sit on the couch. Once I drink mine, or drinking mine while hers is brewing. We have an espresso. Once hers is done, I'll wake her up and give her coffee, and I'll come back out, watch Squawk Box every morning from 6. Well, I get up at 5:30, so from 5:30 to I guess 6:20 a.m. I watch Squawk Box. I have 2 cups of coffee, enjoy myself, seeing what's going on with the markets. My wife starts getting ready to go to the gym around 6:15. I get ready with like 5 minutes to spare, and then we go to a CrossFit gym most days. Now, 2 days a week, we go to a normal gym. But we go 7 a.m. workout. We're done by 8 a.m. Come home, shower, get ready for the stock market open, get ready for work. I've already gone through all my emails by then. I already know what's going on with the stock market. Set up for success. I can't tell you that routine, that excitement for that coffee. It's You're setting yourself up for success. Or at least I am in my world. No, things change. Everybody has their own things that they have going on, but find your routine. Find that whatever it is that you want to do to be extra productive or whatever that may be challenging, maybe you're tired, maybe you don't have time, whatever it is, find that thing that will be a quick dopamine hit that takes your attention off of the harder thing to do and focuses on that little thing that, I don't know, makes everything kind of just great. Like for me, it's that, again, like just a cup of coffee. It's so silly, but I really enjoy that cup of coffee. And focus on that. Find whatever that is for you. Add that to any hard thing you're trying to do. Goals will be so much easier for you. All right. Listen, if you stuck to the end, I appreciate it. I will keep you guys updated with all these little goals. And at the end of 2025, early 2026, we'll review these and make new predictions, and we'll see how we fared. If nothing else, I do think that we're going to do a lot better on my predictions this year than we did last year. And I intend on having another 100% success rate with my TSLA predictions. So let's make it uh well, I guess actually, yeah, let's make it 3 years in a row. All right. Thank you. I'll try to do more videos. I've been busy. But I love you all. Thanks for watching. Peace.